So Marcia, how did you become a performance lifestyle advisor?
I think I got into the role because I was an athlete. I was in athletics, and I was also an athletics development officer, and I wanted to, one, get into elite sport because that's where I was comfortable, but I also wanted to give back something from being an athlete. I just saw this as a route to just fill that gap, be that critical friend or be that critical person between the sport and the athlete, and I thought this fitted the bill. Mel, how did you get into your current role?
Purely by chance, really. It was I had a long career with Debenhams as a senior buyer for 25 years, and then that glorious day that London got awarded the Olympics, and I thought this is my chance to do something with my sport, which was handball. I was a handball player. And so it coincided with changes at Debenhams. I was made redundant from Debenhams after 25 years. So I had to find a job for 2 years before I could start working with handball. So I had 2 years of working in immigration law, dealing with deporting criminals and murderers and dictators. Very, very varied job. Helps me now with my current role, really. And then I went to work for British Handball Association, preparing for the London Olympics, and I had a three-way role there as performance lifestyle advisor, women's team manager, and athlete support services. So that was my role there. And then when handball lost its funding, I moved over to rowing. Obviously, it's a role that's grown hugely now within the English Institute of Sport. We're getting more and more people who want to come into PL. What advice would you give to anyone coming on who wants to be a performance lifestyle advisor?
I would say, I think one thing that I know from within our team is the passion. I just think there's nothing wrong is that when you're coming for an interview is that showing the passion that you want to help people, you want to work in sport. I just don't think we see that enough. I also think the advice I would give them is, have some life experiences. You're dealing with athletes that they want, you want to be able to empathise with them, you want to be able to signpost them or let them know that you're credible and that you're able to support them.
It's also what other opportunities, what other experience you could come with. So we have practitioners who come from educational backgrounds, from counselling backgrounds, from corporate worlds. And each of those skills, I think, has a part to play in passing on that advice and that support to athletes. But I think if someone's keen to get into performance lifestyle, there's obviously some really good tips on our website about that.
We've got good leaflets
about guides to do that. But maybe also have a look at some of the qualifications that could be useful. So maybe looking at the ILM level 7 or level 5 even for coaching and mentoring, because that's our sort of basic principle, isn't it? The coaching and mentoring. But maybe some volunteering with Samaritans, something like that, or mental health training, that could be also very useful.
Definitely, and I think, the skills, apart from the technical skills which we teach anybody that comes on board, who wants to become a performance lifestyle advisor, I think being able to, as you can see from us, is one of the key skills that you need to become a performance lifestyle advisor is relationship building, because you don't have to, it's not just about you and the athlete, it's about the peers, your colleagues you're working with, it's about dealing with people within national governing bodies, speaking to people on a higher level than you, and I think you need to be able to create different relationships at different levels throughout the pathway. Listening is one. We have to do a lot of listening, and I think you have to be able to listen, process and know how to react and
proper listening as well, not just superficial listening. You really listen to what else there may be hidden agendas in replies, and you've got to be able to work out really what the athlete is saying to you.
And I think also, I don't know whether it's a skill, but we have to be really non-judgmental. Do you know what I mean? Well, whoever comes through the door, whatever they bring, whatever we know or anything like that, we can't have no assumptions or, we just have to sit there and be that person and know not how to react, and to be able to support them no matter what they bring through the door. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the first thing we've got to do is absolutely build relationships, but build rapport and build a trust, because we are that neutral voice. So we have to be able to be the person that those athletes want to come to and talk to us. I think we've also got to build up little bits of knowledge. We tend to be the sort of little pockets of knowledge in all different sectors, but not necessarily be experts. But what we have to do is we have to have a ability to network ourselves so that we can go and call on experts where an athlete is asking us about something that's not our expertise. So whether that be a financial expert, whether it be a counsellor, whether it be somebody in a business environment, there could be all sorts of experts, but we have to have that ability to network ourselves so that we can build up a whole platform of people around us who can help us give advice to the athletes. Although we're called advisors, it's not our job to actually be the person doing all the advising. We want to try and make the athlete resourceful, and that it's for them to find the skills and develop those skills with us, but it's for them to do it. We aren't a PA for the athletes, we aren't their mother substitutes, even though sometimes we might put an arm around their shoulder, but it's being able to sort of have that ability to not want to save people and do it all for them, and that can sometimes be quite a challenge to separate that sort of role.
And how do you find working in this elite high performance environment?
Yeah, I think it's probably tougher than most people think. Yes, of course, you see all the great, you're working with some very, very high profile athletes, you're working in an environment that's going on to Olympic and Paralympic gold medals, but it can be a very, very challenging environment. To be the best in the world, athletes have to be pushed very, very hard, and they have to be able to deal with very tough situations. So that can mean that the environment can be quite tough. And I think you have to be ready for that, and you have to be ready to be so professional the whole time and maintain really good high standards the whole time, because we're dealing with world-class athletes who expect world-class support service from us. But they are humans at the end of the day, and we've got to remember that.